You're about to see a coaching conversation with Deb. And it's a conversation where I work with past, present, and future. And so it's more of a coaching than a therapy conversation. It's kind of in between the two disciplines. And when we come into the video, we're actually coming in 2/3 of the way into the session. Deb's was opening up in the beginning that she'd lost her job a few years ago. She'd had this high executive position in a corporate company, then she lost her job, then she discovered she had cancer, and then COVID hit. Thankfully, she's now clear of cancer, but she's suffering from a lack of confidence. And this is a first for her because she's never doubted herself up until now. So when we recorded this session, Deb was just starting her own business. And she was perplexed about this feeling of self-doubt and was feeling so stuck. So that was her present, being stuck. And as we open this stuckness up in the focus and conversation, in an experiential way, going into the feeling sense of what was coming up for her, what emerged was she realized that there was an enactment with her boss who had fired her. And it was an enactment that replicated the one she'd had with her father when she was a girl. So this had resulted in a freeze response in her that continued to this day. So that's what she experientially uncovered, that dynamic of the past that was acting in her present, in her recent present with her boss, and in her current present in feeling so unconfident and so stuck. So having uncovered this, she felt this forward shift. It was a shift that lifted the shame she'd been experiencing about losing her job, because now it all made sense to her. This making sense brought a big sense of relief and of hope. So, as I mentioned, we're entering 2/3 of the way into the session. We're in the last third, and we're coming in at a point where I just do a long reflection. I reflect all that's come up for her so far in the session. And that's at the point where we start in the video, and where we're going to see how we work, and how what came now organically implies forward in a very grounded way into Deb's future, and how that opens the way for her to move forward and become unstuck. So, Deb and I hope that you'll find this video helpful.
Right. So it's like really, it's like, oh yeah, that's how it was.
Mm-hmm.
I see now how all that went together.
Mm-hmm.
That just on a deep level, I was just frozen.
Mm-hmm.
Right. This was my blind spot. And of course I felt frozen. Right. That would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Given like what I was used to and what I was brought up with and what's in my system.
Mm-hmm.
So in that ring of truth with seeing all of that, like how's that kind of, what's the experience of, oh yeah, I've been kind of putting the pieces together, and the more that we talk about it, I'm kind of like really seeing how it all comes together,
Mm-hmm.
how that happened. I'm understanding how frozen I was and why I didn't move and do the things I
Mm-hmm.
should.
Yeah, like I can see it now,
Oh,
but I guess there's still the question of the where'd I go? How do I get myself back?
So Deb, do you also feel like when you say how do I get myself back,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not just being sick and COVID, how do you get yourself back from that experience?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So let's just hold that question, right? So
Mm-hmm.
these things come in steps. So
Mm-hmm.
the first few steps of, oh, I understand now.
Right. where the genesis of
I
it. Mm-hmm.
see. Right. Okay. You're putting all the pieces together, not just in an intellectual way, but in a felt
Mm-hmm.
way. Um, so as we hold that, how are we going to get you back?
Mm-hmm.
Right? What a great question. How are we going to get you back? Let's keep that company for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what comes from the whole of you, your thinking
Mm-hmm.
self and your feeling self. Right? This is a step-by-step thing.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next bit about getting yourself back?
Mm. Well, making that connection, making those, pulling the thread on that, I guess I feel a little bit of relief
Mm, mm-mm,
because, what happened to me when I was a kid is not my fault.
mm,
It just happened to me and I
mm,
just never realized whereas prior to this, I was taking all the responsibility for allowing myself to go into that bad situation, allowing that situation to play out how it did,
right,
which is a big part of me feeling guilty or bad about myself.
right,
Now, how am I going to be different? That I don't know.
right. So that's another important piece, Deb. So, I mean, part of it is, oh, I can understand now. It was a mystery to me, and it
Mm-hmm.
felt like, so. I mean, when we do things and they're a mystery, then it's like, oh my God, that's going to happen again. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
myself. Like, how could
Right.
I
It
do
could happen
that?
at any time. Mm-hmm.
It can, I've got this. What is that, right? So it's like, oh, thank God, it's not a mystery anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a sadness, there's a bit of a grieving to do with that because you're seeing your dad differently, and you're seeing, as much as you love your dad, also how like not there he was in a lot of ways,
Mm-hmm.
and still isn't. So there's like a shift to go on about you and your dad there, but it makes sense, right? And it makes sense how you were. So there's a relief in that, and then with the getting yourself back, it's like, oh, well, one thing is that guilt. I can take that guilt off of me because you had all the confusion and then you had a big glob of guilt on the top,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like, oh, I can take that guilt off.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I'm crazy, or it's not that I'm stupid, I'm not whatever,
Right.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Given that was my really early experience and I was triggered and got in a
Mm-hmm.
frozen state, right? I can take the guilt off.
Mm-hmm.
So let's check in with you again. Now you understand it, and now we've taken the guilt off.
Mm-hmm.
How is that feeling?
Well, I feel a twinge of hopefulness
Mm,
that this doesn't have that I don't have to be this, that I can be different.
mm, 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 mm.
And I feel there's a little freedom in that.
Yeah,
Feeling freer.
yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That
Yeah.
feels great. Yeah, I feel that
Mm-hmm.
too. Right.
And
Mhm.
but I still have a big question mark about that.
Mhm.
Regaining the confidence or that feeling of myself. And
Mhm.
maybe I just have to be a different version of that person. That person's gone.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because of being ill or just time or whatever.
Okay, well, let's check that, Debs. When you say, I just need to be a different version of that
Mm-hmm.
person, how does that land? Does that does that feel right, or?
Well, it feels like a bit of a cop out, and it also feels like maybe that's what this is. You
What
know,
is?
maybe this is part of the growth process or the evolving process of just my life experiences.
Mm-mm.
And so it can't be the same or shouldn't be,
Mm-mm.
but I could be a better version.
Mm. Mm-mm. So there's part of that that feels a cop out, and that cop out would be if you did it maybe in a superficial way. Oh, I'll just be a different version of myself,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't know if I've got this right. And another way of taking it is, oh, of course I'm going to be a different version
Mm-hmm.
because this is an evolution.
Right, because I'm already a different person.
I'm
I mean,
already
how
a
could you
different
be the
way.
same? Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Right. And that part of getting yourself back is understanding what happened, like in a deep way, which
Mm-hmm.
not just a thinking way. And then once you understand, you can lift off some of the guilt and the shame,
Mm-hmm.
and then you find yourself underneath. Right? It's like it all got tangled up and then had a stone put on top.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And this is part of the process of getting you back. So then
Mm-hmm.
some space and some hope can come. And then it's like breathing with that space and that hope to see what that brings.
Mm-hmm.
As you say, it's like a process of evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then that means you're going to emerge slightly different. And you'll get yourself back, but a little changed.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be a different version in that
Mm-hmm.
way.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So how does all of that resonate?
That feels good. It feels true.
Mm-mm,
Mm-hmm.
mm-mm, mm-mm. How does that feel here? It
Mm.
feels good, it feels true.
It feels soothing.
Mm, mm-mm, mm. Yeah, I can sense that too. It's
Mm-hmm.
calming. There's something
Mm-hmm.
calming and soothing. It's like, oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right. That makes sense.
But I tried that. I tried just putting space between it,
Mm,
losing my job. But that's been so long ago. That didn't work.
mm, mm.
So I
Right,
realized that I need to be more active in it.
right. It's the untangling that you're doing
Mm-hmm.
now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So let's just we have just a few. We have like 5 more minutes. So
Mm-hmm.
in that calming and that soothing, let's just see what comes for you here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just give that calming and that soothing all the space that it needs in your body, in your experience.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just let that flower.
Well, I mean, it feels very peaceful,
Mm,
but it also feels pretty far away.
mm, 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 mm. So there's a peaceful,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where do you feel the peaceful?
In here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a peaceful and it feels far away at the
Mm-hmm.
same time. What makes it so far away? What's that far awayness?
Mm. Like I can visualize it, but I know it's not real.
Mm-mm.
It has a kind of dreamy state about it that I know it's not real.
That's
It's what
interesting.
it's just like a figment of my imagination. Like I want it to be that way, but I know it isn't.
So let me check that with you, because you say you feel it, right? So you're experiencing it, and yet you say you're visualizing it, and it's far away. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, like I can feel a calmness because I'm looking at what I want to be the future.
So let's just take a moment. Can you feel the connection between the calm and what you're visualizing? Let's just feel that connection. There's a direct connection there.
I can feel it, the warmth of it.
Yeah. So it's off there in the future. And as you connect with it, you can feel the warmth of that connection, of what's there. And what do you notice about the connection itself? The connection that's bringing the warmth.
That it's strong, and it has a pulse or a life source, a life in it.
It does. It has a life. It has a life to it. How is it when you tap into and realize it has a life? It's got its own
Well, it makes
life.
me feel stronger, empowered, or something.
Right. Yeah. It has
like
its
that's
own
the
life.
where I used to be.
Yeah.
I used to feel that life force a lot.
Right.
And I used to be able to get myself to feel it at will.
Yeah. Right. And here it is. Right. You're connected to it, and connected powerfully to it, actually.
I could harness it or bring it into me.
Yeah. You know this really well. And now it's here. It might be off in the future, but you have a very real, alive relationship with it. You've reestablished.
Yeah, I know it's out there.
Right.
It's like wants to come back.
Right. It wants to come back, and you've already made a living connection with it. And it's powerful, and it's already starting.
Yeah, that was really cool, Charlotte.
Yeah. So let's just hang out with it. We've got a couple more minutes. Let's just hang out here.
Yeah, I feel this kind of excitement, like, okay, I'm ready to go now. I want to be able to take this and keep it with me for as long as it's going to stay with me. Because I feel it might be elusive.
Right. And maybe you'll lose connection with it, because, we do, but it's there. It's there, and it's there to be reconnected with. Right? It's not going anywhere. It's about reconnecting with it. Right? So there's an excitement, and let's just check if there's a next something that comes here. There may not be, but already so much has come. But let's just see if there's an excitement, there's a ready to go. Is there something about that excitement and that ready to go, a next that comes there?
Right. Well, I think it will require some kind of release with me. It feels like I need to let go before I can accept it again, embrace it. And
a release of what's the releasing of?
Like I need to release the insecurity or the disbelief. Or the fear, maybe.
Okay, so that's clear that there's another whole something about release of the fear, right? And that's highlighted by your connection to it. Like for you to go forward with it, it's highlighting what you need to let go of. So that's almost like having a light shone on something. Right. Okay, Deb. So let's just take a moment here. Just see, like, is this an okay place to stop? Is there anything that needs to kind of like show itself or be bookmarked before we stop?
Yeah, I think bookmark. Because I don't, whatever that hesitation isn't gonna get acknowledged so quickly, I don't think.
Yeah, that's like another round.
Right,
like
right. I need to process, which, yeah. But that was really great. Thank you.
Right.
Like knowing that it's right there.
Yeah.
And that it's alive. Yeah. That's a big part of, that's very good for me.
Yeah, alive and well, and that you're powerfully connected to. Yeah.
So that's where I went, over there. Yeah. Thank you, Charlotte.
All right.